Shrien Dewani and his new wife Annie at their lavish wedding ceremony in India. But just 2 weeks after this, he was being comforted at their honeymoon hotel in South Africa. The bridegroom, now a widower.
We are here in Singolonati Street.
Annie's body had been found in an abandoned taxi on the outskirts of Cape Town. The couple had been robbed on their way home from a restaurant. Shrien Dewani had been released, but Annie, who was 28, had been shot in the neck.
This is the spot where the carjacking happened. Initially, the police assumed it was just another random attack. But they soon became suspicious because they couldn't understand why a wealthy honeymooning couple would be in a township like this so late at night.
This man gave them an answer. Taxi driver Zola Tongo, who the couple had hired for the week.
The charges against you is one of murder.
He told police that Shrien Dewani had paid him to organise the carjacking and kill Annie, along with 2 other men, Zolile Mongene and Maziwa Madoda Kwabe. The South Africans wanted to question Shrien Dewani himself, but he had returned home to Bristol and doctors claimed he wasn't well enough to be extradited. Suicidal, they said, and suffering from post-traumatic stress. It took the South Africans more than 3 years to get him back to Cape Town. But in October this year, the businessman finally went on trial. Annie's family have been in court every day, desperate to hear their son-in-law's version of events and find out why he was caught on CCTV handing over a package to the taxi driver just hours after the murder.
Why did Annie die? There are so many fingers pointing at Shrien. He needs to answer those questions, and he must answer those questions. For ourselves, for himself, tell us what really happened.
But Shrien Dewani's legal team argued there was no credible evidence that he was involved in Annie's death and the case should be thrown out. They said the accounts of the taxi driver and his accomplices had been riddled with lies and contradictions. The 3 were given shorter sentences for testifying against Dewani. The defence admitted that the couple sometimes had a stormy relationship. They accepted Shrien Dewani was bisexual and had used male prostitutes before the wedding. But they said none of that was a motive for murder.
Was it really credible, they asked, that a newly married couple would fly into Cape Town, check into their honeymoon hotel here, and within minutes the groom be asking a taxi driver who he'd never met before to have his new bride murdered?
4 years after the honeymoon murder, the judge has agreed that there isn't enough evidence to convict Shrien Dewani and the case against him should be dropped. The whole investigation will now face intense scrutiny. The time and money that's been spent, the pain felt by both families, and the many questions that still remain. John Kay, BBC News, Cape Town.